Alright, here we are in week 6, day 3. Today is 5/11/20. And week 6, day 3. Alright, it says, what is the best estimate of the part of rectangle that is shaded? So assuming that this is whole rectangle, they're talking about the whole thing. So if you're looking at this, if you look at this part, this is half. And this is a half also, but this is a half of the half, which makes it the fourth, and this is the other fourth. So they want to know what's part shaded. The part that is shaded is a fourth. Which of the triangles below is isosceles? So there's kind of a way that I think of it in alphabetical order. So equilateral is first in the alphabet, and they're all equal, the same. So there's 3 sides equal. Then there's isosceles, which is in the second in the alphabet for order, and this would be 2 sides the same. And then the last one is the last one in the alphabet, C-A-L-E-N-E, scalene. And scalene is the last one in the alphabet, and no sides are equal. So 0 sides equal. And I don't really think I spelt scalene correct, so I am checking it on my phone really quick. Oh, I was right. I spelled it right. Nice job. Way to go, Miss Faith. Told you. So if that's the case, isosceles is in the middle, 2 sides the same, 5 and 5. And sometimes you'll see this, like they'll go 1 and 2. And here it would be 1, 1, and 1. And here it would be 1, 2, 3. And they'll show you these number of lines showing that those sides are the same length. So that one would be it. This is that repeating decimal, so that means it'll go on and on and on. Which of these is equal to that? So this is half, that's the same as 50 cents. This is an eighth. If you don't, I know what the decimal is, but I'm going to come back to it and see if this is not just kind of like a fourth is 25 cents, 1/4. Now we have a third and an eighth. Now these are the benchmark fractions. I'm going to say that if I had to pick something as a teacher that I would like for you to remember, I would like you to remember thirds, which is 0.3 with the repeating line, and then 2/3 is 0.6 with the repeating line, so double, that makes sense, right? And 1/8 is 0.125. I almost messed that up because it's half of a quarter. So if I had a quarter of $1 and I split it in half, that would get me an eighth, which would mean I have about 12 cents or 13 if you round up. So 3 with the repeating decimal is the same as 1/3. So inside of this we have the square root of 5 squared minus 3 squared. 5 squared is 25, minus 3 squared, which is 9, which is, so 5 times 5. Remember, this is not 5 times 2, it is 5 times 5 and 3 times 3, which is 9. So if we had 25 minus 9, that would get you to the square root of that. You look at hold on a second. So 25 minus 9 is 14. the square root of, I think is, no, sorry, not 14, 16. It's 16. And the square root of 16 is equal to 4. Yeah, bugs. Okay, next. Negative 12 divided by 2. So if we have a negative divided by a positive, we're going to get a negative. So just ignore the rest part now. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Negative 12 divided by 2 times negative 3. So remember, multiply or divide from left to right. So you still have to go from here first. So negative 12 divided by positive 2 is negative 6 times negative 3, and a negative times a negative equals a positive, which is going to get us to 18. Next. So I have my negative 6 by negative 18. 1/4 times what gets you $5? So if you think about it, how many quarters would you have to have for $5? $1 is 4. So if I had 4 times how many would get us to 5? So 20 over 1. And so then you multiply across. 1 times 20 is 20. 4 times 1 is 4. So you have 20 over 4. How many times does 4 go into 20? 5 whole times. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Complete the empty boxes below. So you're just going from here. What is half of 4 divided by times? Now, on this one I'm just going to remind you, so when it says times half, so you're basically saying 4 groups of a half. If you have 4 groups of a half, you have $2. If you have 6 groups of a $1/2, you have $3. So it's just the same of like, what's half of 16? 16 groups of a half would be 8. 30 groups of 1/2 would be 15. So those would be my answers. For problems 8 through 10, evaluate if A is 6, B is -2, and C is -4. So I'm just going to rewrite my equations down here so that they reflect what the expression would be. So I'm going to put 6 plus -2 plus -4. Then for this one, it is 6 times -2 times -4. And we'll find out what these all equal. Remember when you're doing this that because there's no symbols, that no symbols does mean multiplication. So if you don't see a symbol ever, that does mean there's multiplication. I'm going to make sure I get rid of that so it doesn't confuse anybody. So the next one is 6 plus -2 over -4. Okay? So we're going to look at the first one. We'll go back up here. And remember, since they're all adding, we're going to add and subtract from left to right. So if we have 6 and we add a -2, you're going, just think about this, still means that you're going to take away 2. You are going to end up with -4. So I would end up with +4 plus -4. If I have $4 and then I spend $4, how much money would I have? I would have no money. Next one. If we're working this, we remember we're multiplying, so we're going from left to right. So 6 times -2, if you have a positive times a negative, it's negative, so we have -12 times -4. And a negative times a negative is a positive, and 12 times 4 is 48. So right now we have 0 as the answer for 8. 48 is the answer for 9. And now for 10, they have 6 plus -2 over -4, which just means this is negative. So for this one, this is the same as a half, and a negative make a positive, right? So this one would be same as a half divided by, that would get you to 2 goes into both of those, 1/2. So 6 plus a half equals 6 1/2. I'm done. All right. We finished minute 68. Just a few more to go.